What would you like to ask me? There are topics I won't talk about. Oops. Okay, so for example, I won't incriminate myself. Well, I probably will, but I won't intend to. I also want the copyrights, in case there's anything that's like I don't want the world to see.
All right, name?
My name? I don't fucking know. Where's my passport?
First name?
I don't know. I'm sorry. You can just call me Bob.
Bob. Okay.
Interview with Bob, part 1.
Why don't you want to give your real name?
Well, you know my name. What are you trying to pretend that you don't know me?
Kevin.
Okay, we'll go with Kevin.
Alright.
It's not my name.
And you're from?
Where was I born, like?
Well, where did you live?
Yeah. How long of a videotape have you got?
Where do you consider yourself from?
It's actually quite a challenging question, but I mean, to be fair, I was born in Canada, so that's a reasonable answer. I think I lived in Alberta bound, cowboy country, black gold, yeehaw. Y'all come back now here.
If someone's going to go to Alberta, what would you tell them to go see?
I don't know. I wouldn't tell them. I don't know. I mean, I think that what's the best about Alberta is it's big and there's not very many people. So go check out the country kind of side. The side country. Like that thing.
You prefer the country, not the city.
Well, I mean, like it's a rare opportunity, I think, to go somewhere where there's effectively no people. And outside of the cities in Alberta, there are no people. So why would you go to the city unless you want to go shopping?
Oh. So wasn't the first Bigfoot, or there was a major Bigfoot sighting in Canada?
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't like to talk about that.
About Bigfoot or Canada?
Yeah, I've got a bit of a superstition about talking about big feats. Bigfoot. Yeah. Well,
in 69 when that photo was captured.
Right. The Bigfoot invasion, you mean?
I don't know anything about an invasion.
Yeah, I know nothing about it. That's the video you mean the most famous video?
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's not Canada. I think it's
No, it's Canada.
No, I think it's Washington State.
No, that's Canada.
And it was a few years ago. I read that apparently it was faked by Jonathan Demme or something. Yeah, but
Jonathan Demme faked it, but
well, that's what they say. But a lot of people have done other stuff on that and said it's actually quite real. I mean, frankly, I think that the whole idea... Did you ever see that series on the History Channel called Monster Quest?
Yeah, I've seen Monster Quest.
And I mean, come on, 36 episodes later, it's exactly the same episode every time. Like, we're going to go put cameras and people and stuff, and we're going to spend, 4 hours looking for this animal, and then we're going to get some beers and sleep in a tent, and then go, doesn't look very good.
No, obviously, that TV show wasn't really...
Well, it seems to me that it wouldn't actually take very much endeavor or cost to find out whether or not there are Bigfoot.
But there's birds in species in Hawaii that haven't been seen in 50 years or something.
Oh, I know. There's that coelacanth as well that was caught in the 70s.
What's that?
50 million year old fish.
Yeah, so things like that.
Yeah. Oceans are bigger than Washington State, though, to be fair. I mean, frankly, I think that something could be found. I'm not trying to deny it. I'm just saying that. It just seems to me that it would be a really worthwhile money-spinning project, and I'm surprised that nobody does it, because it can't take that long. For example, see, the problem with, like, for example, fish is that they've got a whole ocean and they can go wherever they want. They can even go by accident, and you can't, like, track them. But mammals drink water and eat, if it's vegetation or meat, and so they have very trackable and predictable sources of food where you can follow them too. And that was one of the Monster Quest things, was they were saying that they apparently go to this place to get water, and that's where they were going to watch. But
yeah, but that show's all, it's just about spectacle. It's not about, they really don't want to invest. I mean, they've got to sell that TV show, is what I'm saying. And they got to sell that, and they've got an hour to fill.
And you wouldn't, for example, think that, the opportunity, it's big enough news, for example, it captures my interest, at least when you hear about, they found a group of pygmies, really tiny people, right? But they only found their bones somewhere in Polynesia. And they called them hobbits or something, didn't they? And what they're saying is that this changes the whole idea of the whole understanding of the evolution of man, because there's this group of people who are actually quite tiny. That's enough interest for me, or even to make me pay attention, to make me buy the book. The idea of finding Bigfoot or the Yeti or any of these other unbelievable creatures, UFOs and all that, would make me want to pay for it, and undoubtedly would be worth a lot of money. So it seems to me that if someone with someone with skill could feel confident that they could find this creature, find someone to invest in it, the amount of money that could be generated from that would be probably huge. I don't think it would be a good thing, but I think that it would be a zoological treasure chest, and I think people would pay to see it.
There was this guy who he was an ex-FBI agent, and he claimed to have seen Bigfoot, and he spent after he saw a Bigfoot, he spent thousands and thousands of dollars on video equipment, outdoor video equipment, to try and at least try to capture an image.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't think he did.
That photograph alone, one excellent photograph would, I'm sure, pay back all his money. I'm sure.
I don't think he was really trying to make money. It didn't seem like he was. It seemed like he was really trying to prove something.
Well, I think that unless you have the unlimited funds, which probably nobody does, that snapping photographs along the way and selling them to international media would be a way to keep funding your search. But I don't think that the problem for me, I think, is that although the Coelacanths and the Hobbit people and stuff are very interesting, and these lost tribes in Brazil and various other things that pop up and change how we understand the origins of man, I think they're all valuable for science, but I don't think that they're particularly valuable for any other reason. And I'm not sure that finding the Bigfoot would actually be a good thing, because it might be a terrible thing. It might be a horrific demise of the Bigfoot, with the amount of people who would suddenly become tourists and take away the land that they have, and we would just probably watch them die as a species, or become zoo guests. And I think that would be absolutely terrible. And I think that maybe that's the same thing with all of the possibilities of intelligent life. The assumption that they are, for example, the UFO phenomena, the assumption is that they are somehow more powerful than we are, might not be true. And maybe, like, for example, the reason that behind the cloak and dagger approach that apparently the American government have and various others. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're protecting them. You know, maybe the idea of having aliens in the zoo is just so reprehensible.
Yeah.
That, you know, maybe they're tiny and they're easily subdued and they've just got magic sort of craft. And I don't know. But I don't think finding the Bigfoot would be much a very positive thing after the first couple of days.
Yeah.
So.
Because so many people would just want like a trophy and.
Oh yeah, I mean the head of
look
one
at
would
me
be.
And.
Plus, just just tourism itself.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you go to Africa, for example, when you watch it on television, the David Attenborough specials and stuff, I think that if you could back up from a helicopter and see, like, where people go on safaris, that, it's really just kind of a big farm now. It might be a very big farm in some cases, but it's a big farm that's getting smaller. And, man is taking away the way of life of animals, of wild animals. I don't think that's a particularly attractive thing. I mean, I think maybe it's inevitable, but I don't think it's particularly.
There's been the most sightings in a city where I lived, and the Bigfoot Society came there in America.
What was the city?
It was near Asheville. It was outside Asheville though, but there was supposedly that's why they came there, because there was a lot of sightings and I don't know. It was.
Well, these
it
are
was
all
just kind of interesting that they came there and.
Yeah. No doubt.
It seems like land is becoming less and less. There's less areas of land for animals and whatnot.
I also think that the lessons of the capture or the discovery of Bigfoot is probably something that we learned watching movies like, for example, or reading the stories of King Kong and Frankenstein. I'm not so sure that the scientific marvel would be a particularly celebratory event after a few days. Like you'd be watching it on TV, and then I think after a while it would be disgusting. And I don't know. I mean, anyways, those are questions that I suppose have to be answered after they're done. But I think I do find the idea that there are parts of, for example, the United States, not to mention the Republic of Congo, that have never been completely mapped or are not, that where a group of large humanoids could live undiscovered. I find that fascinating.
Oh yeah, there's parts of California and Montana that are just that are vast, man.
There's nobody in Montana as well.
Yeah, there's no.
That's our southern neighbor, and between us, we don't have 3 million people, and we've got more land than all of Europe, all of Western Europe.
Yeah.
And less people than a small city in Belgium. So.
Wasn't there some kind of revolution and there was almost a revolution in Canada?
About?
It was between it was new French people, and there was another kind of people that were in Canada. They had established that, an area. And
you mean Meech Lake? Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know. There was a guy who led the.
Yeah, and Native American, First Nations, whatever.
I don't think he wasn't Native American. He was maybe a lower class kind of French citizen or something, or Canadian citizen. And
I don't know what that means. I mean, there was, maybe you're talking about the thing that happened when the problem was that, or the discussion that went on, the argument, the fight was about if Quebec leaves Canada, what happens to the unwilling participants in its departure? And those would be, First Nations. And they called it the Meech Lake Accord. Or that was that's the sort of the document that legally settled it, or tried to.
Yeah.
But, that's... Canadian politics are barely worth paying attention to be perfectly honest. We like it that way. That was really kind of a stone-throwing, name-calling contest. And the Quebecois don't even understand their own history. If it wasn't for the British, Quebec wouldn't exist. They'd all be dead. And that would be an English-speaking province. But the British gave them the right to self-determination before the right even existed. They gave them their land, they gave them their religion and their language and their culture, and they left them alone. And then Quebec grew up into a great big thriving province and said, well, thanks for nothing, and we're going to leave your country. Do you know in Canada, on the license plates, every province has a different saying. Mine says sunny Alberta, because it's sunny all the time, winter and summer. Even if it's freezing cold, it's very, very sunny. In Quebec, in British Columbia, it says, what is that? I remember. Ontario is yours to discover. British Columbia is beautiful British Columbia. Manitoba is the land of 1,000 lakes. In Quebec, it says Je me souviens, which is Quebec French for I remember. And they're trying to blame something on somebody from 400 years ago. And in reality, Quebec is an excellent place to live. It's a very rich part of the world. It has massive resources. The schools, the hospitals, the roads, the police, everything works really, really well. And it's a very civil society. So why they would want to leave is just, I don't know. Doesn't make any sense to me.
What's the best country you lived in?
See, what you needed to do, really, I think, in this to have success with this video diary, is you need to come up with a set of questions and ask everyone the same question. So find 10 questions and just ask everyone the same question, and limit your time to three minutes. And then, for example, here you could do everyone, and it would be 30 minutes.
30.
Yeah, because it's really. What was the last question?
What was your best? You lived in a lot of countries. What was your favorite country you lived in?
Oh, Spain, without a question. So far, Spain's cool. I'm good in Spain.
Why Spain now? Why not France?
Because I never felt welcome in France. And in Spain, not only did I feel welcome, but I think that the way of life is extremely comfortable. It's more outdoors. People are much more relaxed. I don't know. For me, Spain is the kind of place where, if you're sitting at home and thinking, I'm watching too much TV, you just walk outside, go to the cafe, the parks, and things like that. And there's always people, in France, I don't know. I never felt comfortable. I felt like it was a constant battle, for example, about what language we were going to speak. If I speak French, people answer me in English. And you just, after a while, you just okay, stop. Seriously. You can't do it. You know what I mean? Even though your French is better than their English, they force that English on you. And don't you think that, for example, that you would feel uncomfortable if you moved to a new country and people would not let you join the society? And that's what I felt like in France. Spain was the opposite.
People were nicer.
For sure. Girls were more beautiful and more open. It's easier to move around. Public transportation, I think, was better, and the cost of living was lower. And by and large, it was better. So, yeah. Barcelona is excellent, but to live in Las Islas is just too much to ask for a human being. It's a good place.
It's a good place.
Yeah. So you're going to have to develop this plan a bit, I think.
What plan?
You know, the interview plan. That's like 20 minutes. You didn't really even ask me a real question yet. Seriously, write down 10 questions. Give people
What do you mean?
3 minutes to answer it.
Okay.
What else? Because the thing is, I play the video all the time. All the time. And the thing is that it's really easy to make video, but it's really hard to do something with it. And, you know, you're not Andy Warhol, and you're not going to get people to sit for 24 hours and watch these things, you know, boring fucking Canadians with nothing to say, right? So what you need to do is you need to limit everyone's interview to 3 minutes and ask them 10 questions. If they can't answer the first one, for example, skip it and go on to the next. And then what you can do is you can edit it. So, for example, what you'll see maybe is, like, for example, I could say, well, just for, what's your favorite color? And then you'd see me say green, you'd see John say blue. You know, you could do it like that. Or, you know, what's your favorite place to live? Or, you know what I mean? Whatever it is. And you could do like that. You could even put the question in writing and then show everyone's answer. Or you could, you know, run everyone's as you wish, but it would only still last 30 minutes. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, you know...
Have you ever been in a car crash?
Yes, I have. That's a good question. Yeah, I was in a terrible car crash. We were young, and the driver was in the car was drinking, and we ran a stop sign, and we fucking ruined somebody's life. For sure.
But you weren't driving the vehicle.
No. I was the most injured in our vehicle, but I wasn't driving. I have no responsibility. I didn't even know he was drunk. And what's really weird about that for me is I can remember it like it was yesterday, but my memory of it is totally false. I remember us going west, but we actually went east. I can see it like it was yesterday. I can feel it even if I think about it hard enough. But we actually went directly east and got into that accident.
What's the worst thing that happened to you?
The worst thing, I'm not going to put that on videotape. Fuck you. This interview.
Okay, what's a bad thing that happened to you?
Yeah, again, I'm not doing that. Sorry, that's a crazy question. Why would I incriminate myself?
No, I mean...
Lots of bad things happen to me.
No, I mean something that...
No, you need questions like, for example, what's the...
That's a good question.
No, it's not, because it's a bad...
Did you ever get... Have you ever been robbed?
That's a good question. You know, a question that can be answered like simply, yes or no. If it's no, you got to go into the next one. Have I ever been robbed? No, I haven't. I think I'm really lucky though. Have you?
No, I was mugged once. Sort of robbed.
I know a friend of mine in Barcelona got that living snot kicked out of him. He was a little guy as well. They took his money. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to have that experience, I must say. I have been in a situation where I thought they were going to try to rob me, but I avoided it.
And you ran away from...
Well, I didn't run in this case, but once I was in Barcelona and I was going home really late at night, and there was a guy, and he's called me over and he said to me, "Do you have a light for my cigarette?" And I said to him, "No, I don't." And as he was saying that, I could see he was like trying to draw me to come closer to him. And if I had done that, I couldn't. So he was like, for example, here, and I was there. And if I had gone closer to him, I couldn't tell if there were people that could have suddenly been behind me. So if I'd walked over and like lit his cigarette, suddenly his friends could be behind me. So I said I don't, and I made sure the path in front of me was clear, and I kept going, for sure. Yeah, I thought for sure that's what he wanted. But no, not yet. I'm sure I'll get my turn.
Have you ever been married?
No, I haven't.
Have you ever been in a serious relationship?
Yeah. Of course.
In Europe?
Again, I'm not going to do this. This is do you want to publicly humiliate me? Would you like me to undress? Is that what you're asking? I mean, you really, honestly, seriously, think about it. It's not that hard. I'll tell you what I would suggest. Things like people's favorite place and least favorite place. Those kind of questions.
Okay.
Maybe
What was the worst place you ever went?
The worst in the south of Italy is just horrible.
Why is that?
I don't know why it is, but it's disgusting. It's dangerous. It's unfriendly. I mean, frankly, I think Riyadh is a better city than Bari. If I had my choice, I'd go. Absolutely. If I had my choice right now to go to one of those two, I'd go to Riyadh.
Just lots of thieves.
Yeah, it's gross. You know, there's garbage in the streets. You can't go anywhere on public transport and feel safe. People whisper in your ears crazy things all the time. You know, like I remember getting off the train and people come up to me and say, "Oh my God, are you from this city?" I'm like, "Why?" And they're like, "Oh, because it's really, really dangerous. Let me help you." And you're like, "Okay, you're the person who's going to mug me, aren't you? You know, you're the one. You're trying to make me think that I'm making a good decision, but you're going to make me make a bad decision." That was like literally a minute when I got off the train. I also think Sofia in Bulgaria was a pretty bad place, but the offset is the most beautiful girls in the world. Like, it's just crazy.
In Bulgaria.
Oh my God.
But it's dangerous there.
I don't think it's dangerous. It's just so poor that everybody begs you all the time. And you know, like, it's so poor that, like, you see crippled people dragging their bodies down the road without wheelchairs or crutches or anything. I saw a guy that had somehow wrapped himself completely in tape, like an electric tape or something, you know, so he could keep his legs together. And then had, like, I don't remember, but something glove-ish. And so he'd, like, you know, put his, and just drag his body up. And then this guy come up to you and go, like, "Yo, man, can you spare a dime?" And you're like, "Oh, fuck me, of course I can spare a dime." You're like, I mean, what kind of a life could a person like you lead, right? So you give him some money, you turn around, and there's another motherfucker right there, you know, wrapped up in fucking electric tape, the same question. And you're like, okay, I asked for this, you know. How much money do I have? Yeah.
Do you believe in heaven and
There's
hell?
a good question. No, I do not.
No heaven.
No.
Hell.
No.
Afterlife.
No.
Why not? Just for...
I have no reason to believe in them. It would be a leap of faith that I have never made.
Do you believe in spiritual...
No.
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 Okay.
I believe that. I'm a nihilist. I believe science up to the point of the Big Bang. After or before the Big Bang, depending on whether you're traveling there or talking in terms of chronology. I don't know what happened before that, and I would deny nothing. So, you know, it could well be God. Wouldn't surprise me one bit.
What about... Do you have a faith? Do you have faith in humanity?
Of course. I'm not a believer that, for example, mankind will die out. Ultimately, the destiny of mankind is the utter and total mastery of the universe. I am absolutely sure of that. But in the meantime, I suspect, or even all along that route, it'll be horror. But it'll happen. Scientists right now on our little planet are very close to the easy manipulation of molecules. Once that is a technique that is sound, every possibility that could be imagined, even the possibility of imagining that, could be created. So, at the moment, of course, I think things are going to become disastrous. I think China and the United States will go to war soon enough. And I think that the rest of us will fucking starve to death. But not everybody.
Do you think China and America are going to go to war?
Yeah, I'm confident of that.
Why do you say that?
Well, they say it. I mean, they're strategic thinkers or whatever. They're think tanks. Like recently, the Chinese have released their analysis of the United States, their relationship with it, and they give it 15 years. It'll get consistently worse. I mean, there's so much, like, who knows what, it's not like you can guess at it, like, and then look back and check out your accuracy. But there's just simply not enough resources for both nations, and they have to fight over them.
So energy resources.
Yeah, mostly. And of course the right to pollute is something that'll be fought over by creating even more pollution. The funniest thing about mankind, I think, is that if there was a shortage of oil, people would use all the rest of the oil to fight another group of people to stop them having the oil, and at the same time using up all of the oil and having none for themselves. So that seems to be our fate. But I do believe in magic. So who knows?
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, like, I believe that the technologies that are available nowadays, once developed, will solve all of our problems in terms of things like energy and pollution. One has to have faith.
If you went to a desert island, you could only bring 3 things. What would it be?
Another excellent question. 3 things?
Yeah.
So, can I have humans?
No.
No, so I can't kidnap one of the hot girls from Hollywood, for example.
No.
So 3 things. I mean, what am I gonna? I don't know. You mean like food, water, and? Do I get food and water there?
Your food and water is taken care of.
Right.
And
so
all your.
It's just basically I'm in isolation, and I would.
It's just you're in isolation, and you would need. You can bring 3 things, whatever you want to bring.
So is one thing a book?
You can bring a book, yeah.
Can I bring a library?
You could bring a library. That's one thing.
Okay, library for sure. The biggest possible one. Well, not the biggest possible one, but one that would last me until I die. Yeah, that's probably going to be enough. Really. I could bring dogs and cats.
You could bring a dog or a cat if you wanted to.
Sure, I'd do that. Have a little bit of companionship since there's no humans. And oh, is there dope on the island? Can I get stoned and drunk and?
You could bring something if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You could bring some materials that might help you in
I'd
that.
bring the wrong thing and fuck it all up.
So what's the best time you ever had? You remember having? The best experience you ever had?
Yeah, I don't want to answer that.
Second best experience you ever had? Anything.
I can remember once waiting and not knowing if someone was going to arrive, and when they did, I remember feeling extremely good about that. So I remember that. What else?
For about a particular, was it a particular person?
Yeah, and it was the unlikelihood of it all, I think. I can tell you once when I was a kid, I played on a really good basketball team. We won all our games, and when the end of the season came, they picked an all-star team, and I was on it. And that was a great feeling. I didn't believe that could be possible.
What's up, man? Just lock that door.
I think I'm finished with my interview, really. It's like an hour now.
All right, we'll just finish it later then.